Welcome to the Elgin County Railway Museum in St. Thomas, Ontario, the railway capital of Canada. Today we'll be talking about our rolling stock gallery. It houses the main attractions of our museum, our engines and our cars. Let's take a look at some of the rolling stock we have on display. Our collection includes our Canadian National Hudson 5700, which was a steam locomotive built in 1930 and would carry passengers between Toronto and Montreal. It is one of only 5 that were made. It was originally the 5703 and had its number plates changed after the original 5700 was scrapped when the line was retired. Wabosh 51 Rail Yard Switcher was nicknamed Tilly by the workers after a comic strip character from the mid-20th century. The engine's job was to push and pull other engines and cars to form trains. This is the only engine that we still occasionally use. Our baggage car was used for carrying baggage on passenger trips. It would also double as a mail office, as workers would sort through mail in baggage cars. Baggage cars would normally be near the front of a train and on occasion would help haul freight. Our baggage car has a museum of its own on the inside. Grand Trunk Western Caboose, which would have been at the back of a train, was a workspace and living quarters for the workers. If you worked in a caboose, you'd have to keep an eye on the rest of the train, making sure nothing became disconnected. You'd also be responsible for hopping on the roof and running down the train to put the brakes in place. It proved to be a deadly job, and has since been automated for the workers' safety. Our Pullman sleeper car would have housed passengers on longer trips. Independent compartments could be purchased, where one would have a bed and curtains, as some trips could take upwards of 30 hours. Our London and Port Stanley engine, known as L1, is from one of the first lines that went through St. Thomas, originally connecting London and Port Stanley for importing coal. It later became a passenger line to bring Londoners to the beach on hot summer days, and Port Stanley citizens into the city before cars were common. Our bright orange engine, which is colloquially referred to as the Empress of Algonquin, this engine was one of a kind, and notorious for derailing and breaking down. It mainly worked out of the Agincourt rail yard in Toronto. Near the end of its career, it became a rail yard switcher, meaning it would never have to leave the rail yard, as it would only be responsible for pushing and pulling other engines and cars to form trains. Our rolling stock gallery is also home to our smaller artifacts that would have been still found on the tracks in our maintenance of way exhibit. Workers would need to get to patches of track that needed to be fixed, so rather than taking a whole engine out to the problem, they would ride one of these. They began as hand cars, where it would take several workers pumping to move the car down the track. They were designed to be lightweight so they could be picked up and turned around, but they'd still weigh over 200 pounds. Eventually, they were replaced with motor cars, which would rely on an engine rather than manpower. One person who would commonly use these cars was the agent. We have a display that is a replica of what an agent's office would have looked like. The agent had many responsibilities. His office would be stationed along the tracks, and he was able to sell tickets from his office. But more importantly, he was the middleman in communications between the dispatchers and the trains. This was a time before cell phones and internet. The agent would receive a telegram and have to relay the message to the conductors of the train by writing out the message and sticking it in a messaging hoop. What's in the rolling stock gallery isn't the only thing that makes it great. Our rolling stock gallery is located in the Michigan Central Railroad locomotive shop, where the workers would have fixed engines and cars. Here are some pictures directly from what our rolling stock would have looked like when it was an active shop. They had to have such a big building just to be able to service the engines and cars that came into town. But this also means that we now have a building that can comfortably accommodate our rolling stock gallery. And with this being a former rail shop, it means we have permanent fixtures that come with the building that wouldn't be present if our museum was located in another building. We have the supervisor's office, which would look out over the floor. We have a few cranes affixed to the roof to lift any pieces of rolling stock. We even have some original wooden brick flooring, which was there not only to make it easier to stand on all day for the workers, but also so the shock waves were absorbed and wouldn't crack the ground when a train would come in and shake the whole building. The building itself truly is our largest and most important artifact.